Tonight, in this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television, the presidents of the two houses of parliament, the lower and upper houses of parliament, are preaching peace in the wake of the socio-political crisis rocking the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. In this edition of the news, we shall be getting the reaction of Dr. Simon Munzo. He is the Deputy Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary for Ivory Coast. The former, rather, is going to be telling us that dialogue is the only way out of the crisis. Also ahead, we tell you about dozens of house owners in Bonabere of the Douala 4 municipality that went on rampage, demanding for justice. Their houses are about to be demolished. We bring to you their difficulties in this edition of the news. We shall be right back. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television. The presidents of the lower and upper houses of parliament have cited peace as pivotal in Cameroon, as a pivotal element, and that fostering living together should be collective and national. They were speaking at the site or at the start of the June session of parliament that began today in the nation's capital. Members of the lower house of parliament began meeting 11 a.m. this morning, and the senators converge on the nation's capitals from 4 p.m. this afternoon. Honorable Joseph Banazem, the Social Democratic Front Party member of parliament, is going to be telling us in the following excerpt the reactions of some of the opposition MPs at the level of the National Assembly. Let's hear him in the following excerpt.
That's not what we want. We want to solve problems. We are not going to come at every moment to play that sort of spectacle. As events unfold, if we find out that it is necessary to carry on action, we will do it. So you people, journalists and the rest, should not think that at every moment we should do things which are extraordinary. Those things extraordinary come out when we are desperate, when we cannot do otherwise. So we will follow the events as they come.
That is an SDF MP. They're saying that they are ready to take another action at the level of the lower house of parliament if the Anglophone crisis is not brought to the table. They are equally calling for a review of the country's electoral code. It should be noted that this may be the last sitting of members of parliament if the electoral college in Cameroon is convened by the president of the republic. The head of state has between now to the 21st of this month of June 2018 to convene the electoral college for the parliamentary election across the national territory. Meantime, Dr. Simon Munzo, former Deputy Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary for Ivory Coast and founder of the Anglophone Cameroon Dialogue Forum, has indicated that dialogue, of course, is the only way out of the socio-political crisis rocking the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. He's going to be guest on the weekend edition of The Insight on Equinox Television. He was speaking to Babila Jonathan. Let us come back to some of his declarations in the following excerpt.
A state could become self-governing by integrating into another independent state. And that, incidentally, is what the United Kingdom recommended when it came to southern Cameroons, that we had a choice between becoming independent by joining Nigeria or independent by joining La République Cameroon.
And that sounds like a contradiction to the other resolution which indicated that a country could become independent without necessarily having to join another state.
No, it's all a matter of, these concepts can sometimes be confusing. Now, the key thing was for a territory to be self-governing, okay? And it was stated that a country can become self-governing when it has one of those three forms that I just indicated, either by standing alone as an independent, merge as an independent country, a sovereign independent state, or associate freely with another independent, with an independent state, or integrate with an independent state. And so in the case of the Southern Cameroons,
the United Nations
limited us to the third option. Now, but having limited us to the third option, our people had to choose between joining Nigeria and joining the Republic. That is why we had the plebiscite of 11th February 1961.
And the coordinator of the Stand Up for Cameroon initiative in the northwest region of Cameroon has traveled all the way from that part of the country. She is Kwa Elizabeth. She's going to be guest in the second part of this newscast. She shall be telling us how the Anglophone crisis has affected the woman folk in that part of the country as well as young children. Meantime, inhabitants of Block 3, that is in Ndobo, in Bonaberi of the Douala 4 municipality, risks another demolition of their houses. That was supposed to be this Thursday by certain businessman. The demolition, or the previous demolition without an advance notification, took place last Thursday, exactly 1 week ago, with the backup of security forces. Residents stormed the office of the divisional officer, that was yesterday, of the Douala 4 subdivision, agitating against the cruel act. That is how they described it. They say that they are owning their land titles and that the act so far by the purported businessman is illegal and proof of injustice. Let's now have an excerpt of one of the grumbling inhabitants of Block 3 Ndobo in the Douala 4 municipality. She was speaking to Equinox Television.
We just get up in the morning, we saw gendarmes. They have cycled our whole quarter with guns. We don't know where they have come from. They did not notify us. We have our treaty foncier, that we have our own, he has his own. He wants to only press us because we are the poor, but we say in the name of Jesus, he will not succeed. We are here so that the super-prefect will come and intervene, because they are promising to come and block us and put us out with our children. For what? Because we know we have our rights, because we have our treaty from say he has his own. Even if that land is not our own, they have to notify us before they come and block us.
That is a grumbling inhabitant of Bonaberi of the Douala 4 municipality calling on the government of Cameroon to intervene. Meantime, another inhabitant says that he and several others were simply molested by security forces last Thursday when the first demolition took place. Let's hear him in the following excerpt.
Speaking here is one of the victims, caught, beaten and pounded by the laws and forces officers, the gendarmerie, for what I did not know. The motive put on us is that we tore the Cameroon flag, that we didn't do it. Please, we are crying on the entire government of Cameroon to put justice on whatever thing is going. Some of our brothers, as we are talking right now, they are in hospitals because they ran and fell into mud. Some children nowhere to be found. Families have been dispersed. Houses broken down. Please, we are calling on our authorities to put justice to reign and God to help us, for we are Cameroonians. We are not outsiders. We are not refugees. Thursday happens to be a Black Thursday as last Thursday. I'm speaking and God will bear me witness. Yes. The poor should hearken unto the rich. Terminated.
We now talk about the fight against disorder in the motorbike sector in Mongo division of the littoral region of Cameroon. Bike riders in Lum that have been told to enhance order in the bike riding sector so as to be free and safe from gun battle in neighboring southwest region of the country. The mayor and the GO for Lum in the Mongo division were telling the bike riders to simply get themselves identified, as it tells us more in this report.
Disorder in the commercial motorbike sector has not only become alarming but endangers lives of riders who are neighbors to the trouble-hit southwest region, characterized by frequent gun battle between separatist fighters and the military.
Nous avons vécu ce qui s'est passé le 20 mai. Imaginez-vous donc si c'était donc une réalité.
To secure lives and the sector, council authorities and the divisional officer for Lum, Pascal Zoua, in the Mongo division of the littoral region, promised to institute order at all costs in the bike riding sector.
Nous avons pris des engagements.
A sensitization meeting grouping motorbike riders and administrative authorities demands respect of the law put in place.
Tant que ça ne sera pas assigné, on ne pourra jamais vous laisser tranquille.
The riders were told to get identified by registering with the council free of charge, accompanied by free benefits.
You go come with your original YouTube, vous savez vérifier.
na only pièce dem wey we dey ask am for motor taximan that.
Authorities emphasized on the need for motorbike riders to be transparent and refrain from criminal acts.
On va collaborer pour mettre hors d'état de nuire ou alors pour injecter le secteur.
The targeted group of persons applauded the initiative and promised adhering, saying they have been trying as well to put order in the sector.
The meeting passed well, but if having our own circle, we call Komolo as usual. So when we go and sit behind, we'll try to arrange and see what we can do there. We'll come and join the Joe, the mayor, so that we can tell that this is what we're feeling to do, this is how we have to do what we're supposed to do.
These authorities say, when effectuated, will keep the riders safe, render them responsible and respectful.
And the Minister of Livestock in Cameroon has told butchers of the recently inaugurated slaughterhouse in Gaoundéré to make an optimal use of the structure. Dr. Tiger was speaking as he was opening the first ever industrial slaughterhouse in the country. It is expected that meat is going to be handled in the most hygienic manner, as Smart Njikangebru tells us in this report.
This is the slaughterhouse of Gaoundéré in the Adamawa region of Cameroon. Over 300 butchers slaughter animals here on a daily basis that is later transported to our markets. Everything here is done manually, but it is the bread provider to several inhabitants of the region. Let the government try to see how they can help us. At the new site, just very few persons will be taken. Owing to the advancement of the country, it was necessary for a modern industrial slaughterhouse to be put up. Livestock Minister Dr. Tiger was in Gaoundéré to inaugurate the new industrial slaughterhouse that is expected to handle the slaughtering of animals in a more hygienic manner. Dr. Tiger says, we are handing the keys to the General Director for him to immediately put the center into use while we wait for its official launching. The industrial slaughterhouse is installed in Gaoundéré. We are not going to lack any primary element. We have asked the General Director, stakeholders and the population to make optimal good use of the house. The Director of the Industrial Slaughterhouse says they are set for the challenge.
We are well prepared. Before the event of today, we have trained many Cameroonians. You have seen them this morning, and they are ready, to furnish good quality meat for the people of Gaoundéré and Cameroonians.
The availability of a modern industrial slaughterhouse will, however, not disturb the activities of the local slaughterhouse that has been there for several decades now.
And traders at the Fumban cattle market in the known division West region of Cameroon are disgruntled because of the lack of basic amenities like portable water, toilets and shades. Compounding to these problems is a frequent theft of their cattle in the market. A reporter, Franklin Mwabe, presents the cattle market in Fumban in this report.
Welcome to one of the biggest cattle markets in Cameroon. This is the Fumban cattle market in the known division of the West region of Cameroon. Traders in this market are faced with many challenges. They complain of the fact that the market is not secured for them to carry out their daily transactions. Cattle are stolen on a daily basis. Another difficulty faced by the traders of the Fumban cattle market is a lack of water coupled with the dirtiness of the market. Traders also face the problem of displaying their products due to the lack of shades to protect them from the scorching sun. They also complain of traders cheating buyers, likewise buyers scamming traders. The problem of no water and toilets in the market is a major concern to the people of the Fumban cattle market. Even after the mayor promised them these basic social amenities during his campaign, yet nothing has been realized.
On voulait l'eau, on voulait les bureaux, on voulait les parcs là où les baies entrent.
We wanted water, we wanted offices and ranches where we could put our cows for security purposes. Some traders asked the question, what happens to the taxes collected from these markets? Every day we pay taxes, but we don't know where these taxes go to. This market gives millions of francs, but there is nothing to show for. The sun and the dust is killing us. There is no place that differentiates where a cow should stand and where a human being should stand. The Fumban cattle market, which is one of the biggest cattle markets in Cameroon, is mostly dominated by Muslim inhabitants whose main occupation is cattle rearing. Activities in the Fumban market benefits both the traders and the population of Fumban. However, the management of the market is still a major concern to both buyers and traders in the market.
And that brings us to the end of this first segment of the news. Time for us to meet our guest tonight. We shall be right back. As I announced earlier, we are having as guest tonight Mrs. Nkwa Elizabeth. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Thank you for receiving me as well.
We should be thanking you for coming. She is the Northwest Regional Coordinator of the Stand Up for Cameroon initiative. You are one of those women who said that to celebrate Women's Day, you had to march through the streets of Yaoundé, sweeping the streets of poor, bad governance, absence of democracy, injustice, and the current crisis in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. Tell us about that day. Were you one of those that were arrested by security forces? That was on the 9th of March.
Unfortunately, I was not arrested because I left the place with the other women from the Northwest to go back immediately. So the arrest didn't get to us. But I should have loved to be arrested.
I saw you talking about the situation in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. Is that what took you to Yaoundé?
Before the situation in the Anglophone, which is today the Anglophone problem, we had our problems. And the problems were were like through Cameroon. It was not basically for Southwest and Northwest. And we were like fighting for transition. That when if we are able to send out this government, we'll make it a transitional government. But later, in 2016, it all began gently. The Anglophone problem started gently. And before we could realize it, October 2017, bloodbath started
in the
Northwest and Southwest. That's when I would say Stand Up for Cameroon had a different idea.
Now you had to change your priority because the priority at that time
was
transition
transition
in those regions.
But now it came to the situation in the Northwest and Southwest.
When you said that you wanted to meet the President of the Republic, because that was one of the reasons why you chose Yaoundé, what was the message you were taking to the head of state? Was it the Anglophone crisis or the general problems Cameroonians are facing?
Capital problem was the Anglophone problem. Because there's a list of problems for Cameroonians. But today, the Anglophone problem has twisted Cameroon politics. So there's something we can discuss in Cameroon without the Anglophone problem. If I were listening to your news, that was your opening, the headline.
Of course.
Yes, so we could not stay indifferent. We now thought that as Stand Up for Cameroon, the men were there, our youths are with us, but the government has never let anybody out. I don't know how you can stop a child from crying if you beat that child. So we thought that women for Stand Up for Cameroon should make another group as mothers, because we know our president, even if he's as heady as anything, he will respect the mothers.
Mothers of the nation.
Yes.
That is why you decided to make
to make that.
But the president of the republic is aware of these problems. He has met a series of outings as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. What made you think that taking the problem to Yaoundé was going to change the way things would be treated?
We
or
just
the way
thought
the crisis
that
would be handled?
Maybe people of his level have been talking to him. And I think he respects his mother. So that's why we were in Yaoundé.
Were you impressed?
I was. Because if you cover this the
Did
incident.
you leave Yaoundé satisfied because the objective was
I was
to meet
satisfied
the
because you
the
message went across.
Even though you didn't meet the president of the republic.
Yes.
Now, you traveled all the way from Bamenda. Like I said earlier, you are coordinating the Stand Up for Cameroon initiative in the northwest region of Cameroon.
Yes.
You visited some of those localities hit by the Anglophone crisis in Batibo, Momo division. You have been to Boyo division of northwest region of Cameroon. What has been your experience? What have you been able to see on the field for yourself?
You know, I always say that there is one thing that happens to humans, where even a mother has 10 children, you cannot imagine how much he or she will weep when one dies. So in these regions, the northwest and southwest, we cannot say, I think we've seen the burnings in the southwest. So we decided to go to Batibo and was asking, but where can these people be? We're just two of us at the time. Then one of the teachers told us that they were in Iwo, a village in Batibo, that some were there, some. So we had to brave it to that place and found that there were women, children, old mothers, and very few young men, because the young men are hiding. Then it was alarming.
Why are the young men hiding?
According to what we heard from the runaways, they said each time the army or any military man comes, they break the door and they are looking for your son. So no boy will stand to wait for that. These women, we found that in a village like that, there were just 200 people in that village before. Now, from the register and from the crowd that we saw, there are 800. As at end of May, not even end of May.
Where are they coming from?
They are coming from Nomba, from they call Ajay. They are calling those villages around. We found that they lacked dresses because they just run out of their houses without taking anything. Some of the women, they would love to leave that village to even Batibo, but they don't have identity cards. And there is no way you can leave your house to another house
because of the series of numerous
checkpoints on the road. So these women are forced to remain. Just imagine how you close somebody. They are closed. Even the things that they struggle to gather as they are trying to walk around there, because they've given them farms there, they cannot come out to sell. They don't have a market in Iwo. Their market is in Guzan. Their market is in Widikum.
Who is assuring their safety and their security? Who is securing them?
Nobody. Is just the village head and just the people in that village. They are there. There is no police, no gendarme, but first they will not even like it. They prefer those men in Iwo village to protect them.
Why? Is there any particular reason?
They've had a phobia for gendarmes and policemen. If I've been walking through the streets of Douala, I don't find any policeman with a gun. But if you leave Mamfe to Bamenda, every policeman, every gendarme has one heavy gun around.
The Minister of Communication in Cameroon and other government officials have indicated that the security forces are professional the way they are doing their job in the northwest and the southwest regions, and that they are there to secure the population. But is that not the situation on the ground? What do you have to say about that?
When you talk about professionality, they always tell you that some two unidentified gunmen came, because I've not seen any time anywhere where the police have brought out 2 captives. They've not brought out any 2. They only tell you these people were unidentified. Then who will identify them? This is a professional force, and we believe that they have the intelligence. They cannot, somebody cannot come and shoot and run. Are you getting it? So we don't even feel secured in any form. But one goal for Stand Up for Cameroon is that we should keep down our guns and talk and bring peace, and it will be non-violence. Women don't go in for guns, so we say we want to change this country without
Who should
violence.
drop the guns? Who should drop the guns at this point?
Whoever is using
the gun.
Yes, whoever is using it.
Now, you're leaving the Northwest at a time when we're still talking about the Menka massacre. How
yes,
close to 30 young boys and girls were brutally murdered by security forces. How is the Northwest region
I
reacting
will not
to
even
this?
tell you that I am a victim, because in Mungaka we don't have the name for cousin, we don't have anything as auntie, we have mother. That's the word we have in Bali.
It's a one family.
It's a one family. So I lost my own son. My elder sister's son died in this course, where I don't even imagine what he went to do in Benin. But we have always been trading with Benin. And then the auntie who went to take the corpse, if she comes here to narrate the story, you will not even like to.
It's something else.
Yes.
What to you, before we go, is the solution to this crisis at this point in time? What is the solution? What is the solution that you are proposing? As somebody who is living the situation here on the ground.
We came here to tell women that it is time we come out in our numbers to cry out. And one of our strategy is to wear black every Friday. I hope you will do it tomorrow. But Mimi, I will not let this time pass. We are also out for a humanitarian gesture where we tag it, hold my hand. Since we went to Iwo
and discover
the problems of the people, we want women, because when we
men and women of goodwill
to assist
through Stand Up for Cameroon.
Stand Up for Cameroon. We have some numbers here. You read it out for us.
Okay, just before we go, is 674399997.
Yes.
That's just one of the numbers that our televiewers can call. We thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point. Thank you for leaving Bamenda to come and tell us the situation on the ground. We thank you so much for your time.
I also thank Equinox for receiving us.
Thank you so much. That is Mrs. Nkwa Elizabeth there. She is the Northwest Regional Coordinator of the Stand Up for Cameroon initiative, who traveled from Bamenda to tell us about the situation in the 2 Anglophone regions of Cameroon. That brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Viewers, so thank you so much for joining us as usual. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.